Hi folks, John with the Wingman 115 channel. Thank you so much for checking in today. I'm out here once again in my backcountry playground. I love coming out here and I'm doing a little bit of target practice. Now, the equipment that I'm using today that we're going to talk about is the Bear Montana Longbow. I've had this bow now for about a year. I got it for my birthday last year and I've been shooting it quite a bit. If you follow along on social media, Instagram, and Facebook, I'm always posting photos of shooting 3D targets or going to 3D shoots with this bow. So I thought I would showcase this bow today in this video. As always, we're going to cut away. I'll take it over to the Jeep top and we'll do a quick specs rundown. Then I'll do some target practice with this, and as always, I'll come back and I'll give you some final thoughts. Folks, it's going to be a fun day. We're talking about bows. Come along and join me. Let's talk about this bow for a minute. It's the Bear Montana Longbow. It's 64 inches long. The riser is a solid piece of black Dymondwood. Now, what Bear calls that is just future wood that's been stabilized. So if you're in the woodworking, especially in the knife making where you need wooden handles, you're going to stabilize them. So you vacuum seal them with epoxy and then you kind of bake it in there, and it just really stabilizes the wood to all sorts of moisture and weather. It just makes it really, really nice. The limbs are clear white maple core, and there's black fiberglass reinforced bow tips for high performance strings nowadays. Now let's talk about the string. The string that comes with it is a D97 Flemish twist. The first thing I ever did was take that off. I contacted a gentleman, he owns a company called Simply Traditional, and I had a custom Flemish string made for this bow. What a huge difference it's made. Now, the bow comes with a leather grip and also an arrow rest, so I did a modification on mine, and I put my own custom rest on there. I didn't care for the leather at all. It kind of started wearing out real quick. Now, this bow has a slightly tapered reflex design. Mine's in a 50-pound pull, but this bow does come right-handed from 30 all the way up to 60-pound pull in 5-pound steps. If you're a lefty, you're only going to be able to get it in 45, 50, and 55 pounds. So I'm sorry if you're a lefty, but there's a lot of options available for folks out there with this bow. I love this Reinhardt ball because you can move around and take different shots. And there's a lot of different focal points on that ball. Plus, sometimes I just hang it from tree limbs out here and let it swing. So I'm moving around behind trees and such out here to kind of show you folks. There we go. Yeah, I don't want to hit my camera. That would not be good. Try a few more here. I love these targets. They're great training aids. It's that aim small, miss small mentality. Let's send a few arrows downrange. Right now I'm shooting at about 12 yards. When I was shooting before, I was back behind the camera. Camera was up close, about 15 yards. What I like to do is usually throw the ball out there and then I move around, because in the real world, nothing is just static and stationary. Animals are going to move. Your hunting position is going to change. It's not like you're at the range or on a 3D target course. It's just not going to work out. So you want to train how you're going to hunt real world style. So I come out here. The only Thing is, penalty for failure today is these pine needles in the duff in some areas is a couple inches thick. So if I lose that arrow, it looks just like the pine needles. So I gotta be on point. So with that said, I'm gonna shoot and do a little concentrating here. How I shoot is instinctive. I've been trying to shoot gap, but there's a learning curve. I shoot it with my grizzly, but with my longbow, I'm finding I shoot better instinctive. I just pick that target, I look at it, I don't go crazy town and get in a zen moment, but I just stare at it. And then I just let what I've done all my life take over. And I've overshot that because I was talking. So I'll usually take a step forward, take a couple steps backwards, get on the other side of the camera here so you guys can see me. That way you got to think about your shot a little bit. Come up, kneel down, take it up to 10. Take it back. Try again, because I can do better than that. Nice. I love coming out here with friends and my son-in-law. A little healthy competition always goes good. Step forward. All right. Last arrow. In my best fake Robin Hood voice, arrow be true. Nice. Let's talk about this Bear Montana Longbow for a second. I've had this now for a little over a year. I got it for my birthday last year for my daughter and son-in-law. So thank you, Ashley and Charlie, for getting me this bow. And I put in a lot of mileage on this. I do a lot of 3D shoots with it. And if you follow along, like I said earlier on social media, I'm always in my backyard shooting at my 3D targets. And yeah, I can only get out tops maybe 17, 18 yards. Who cares? You're learning the mechanics, your shot sequence, and all that good stuff. You cannot go wrong by just getting out and shooting no matter how far. That's why I like coming out here though. I'll throw the ball out to 20, 25. Hopefully don't lose it in the heavy pine needles that are out here. I've lost a few arrows, but that's just the price you pay when you come out and shoot out here in the backwoods. The Montana, well, as you can see, it's a nice looking bow. I love this wood grain and how they do that. That future wood is just awesome. One thing I was really amazed by when I took this bow out of the box was just how light the bow was. And you're gonna be amazed if you go to an archery shop, pro shop, and pick one up, you're gonna go, oh my gosh, it just doesn't feel like it's this light, but it is. And with that, some folks were complaining about hand shock. I can honestly say that the way that I have my bow set up, and it could be the brace height, the string, a lot of factors are in play, I've had no hand shock with this bow. Now, I've had to make the jump. Originally, I started kind of backwards. I came from the compound community. Even though I shot a bear whitetail hunter, my dad got it for me when I was 15 because he didn't want me to play around with his Browning Cobra recurve. And if you're a dad, you can understand why with a 15-year-old boy. So I started shooting traditional style with that compound bow. Well, a few years ago, I said, you know what, I had enough of this. time to take the training wheels off, and I got me a Samick Sage, and I just fell in love with traditional archery. And then I saw this online, and I'm just a big fanboy of the old Robin Hood movies and the longbows. I just am. I'm a traditionalist. I just love it. And it had me hooked. I just fell in love with this design. And I just kept throwing out the subtle hints to the family, you know, can I have one? Can I have one? Can I have one? And then finally they got tired of hearing me beg, plead, you know, and they got me one for my birthday. So I'm just having a great time. Now, with anything, it's not perfect. Everything has its limitations. And if I was Bear, here's a few things that I would change on their bows. As I said earlier, this came with a leather rest and backplate. It looks really nice, but practical application, after about a month, month and a half, you're sweating, you're shooting, it just looks janky. So I bought me a different rest. I put that on. It looks nice and clean, and it shoots really well. Now, I had to get used to the leather wrap and how my hand positions on there in the grip, because with my compound bow and all my other recurves, it's just got a deep grip. So there might be a little bit of a learning curve if you're jumping from compound or recurve into longbow. But let not your heart be troubled. Go out and have fun. Practice. Who cares if you miss? I missed a few shots earlier. Who cares? I'm out here. I'm having fun. And that's all that matters. Let's talk a little bit about the aesthetics of this bow. The way they did the Dymondwood, where that process where they put an epoxy in there and then vacuum seal it and bake it in, it just makes the wood more stabilized, and it really makes the grain and the figure pop on this bow. It just looks outstanding. The rock maple in the limbs and the black glass, it just makes it pop. The only thing other than the rest that I would change is the string. The stock string that came with it is fair at best. I understand Bear, if I'm going to put value into something, I'm going to put it into the bow. I can always replace the string. Strings wear out, that's fine. So I found a gentleman on Facebook. He runs a company called Simply Traditional, and I had him make me up a couple custom strings for this and put on some silencer balls. And it really took this bow from being a good shooting bow to like a Ferrari, a great shooting bow. I have so much fun when I go to 3D shoots and just playing around in the backyard with this. I find that it doesn't stack. Of course, my draw is only about 27 inches, so your mileage is going to vary. I'm not taking it to the full 28. If you're a tall person and you go past 28, I can't speak to that. So honestly, I can't. I'm shooting about a 27-ish inch draw. You know, hey, God bless me with being short. I got to deal with it. I got to work with the limitations that I have. But when I pair it up with what I'm shooting right now is a gold tip traditional, and I really like the wrap on that. It kind of gives it that old school look and feel. It works really well. Now, a lot of folks I know are shooting arrows that are full length. If you're a gap shooter, you know, your mileage is going to vary, and you know, because your point on is going to be smaller with a longer arrow. With this longbow, I'm shooting instinctives, so that's not an issue. But with my Bear Grizzly, I'm working on shooting gap with that, so I may have to increase the arrow length. But like that, your mileage is going to vary. It depends on the length of your draw and the poundage of your bow and all that good stuff. So this isn't an arrow video. I will leave it at that. But I know folks are going to ask me, because every time I post a video, the devil's in the details. I acquired a Legend Archery quiver, and I was shooting a back quiver, a leather one, but I was going to these 3D shoots, and down here in SoCal, it gets pretty warm, and we're walking around 28 targets. You come back and you got a pool of sweat and wet leather on your back, and we're just not going to go into that. It's just not a fun time. So I saw the folks at Legend Archery. They post a ton of stuff on Instagram. Went on their website, and for under 50 bucks, got the whole setup except for the water bottle cage that I bought at REI to hold an Nalgene bottle when I go out. But for under 50 bucks, I got a quiver, and I'm good to go. If I'm hunting, obviously, I'm probably going to put a limb quiver on this one, and I'm thinking about a Selway, so maybe a 4-arrow one because the limbs are real short on this. But I can ramble on about archery all day long, and I love it. And if you're not into archery, if you're on the fence and you're considering, I say do it. You're gonna have fun. There's so many cool folks that are doing it. Women, kids, young, old, doesn't matter. Folks, I'm gonna quit babbling. I'm just having too much fun. This is John with the Wingman 115 channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Now get out and shoot, folks. It's a great day. Take care.